guys, Golf with another tips and tricks video for you. So I am back in Hong Kong, killing some time in my hotel room, boring, and I've got a great idea for a video for you on how to improve without actually hitting golf balls. Very few of us have 4, 5, 6 hours a day to pound on balls or work with an instructor, but we all want to get better, so we need to find ways of improving, and you can. So to illustrate my point, I'm going to use an example, and it's a swing flaw that I suffered hugely from, and it's getting better because I'm working on it. So there is hope for you all. It became apparent in my golf swing, maybe 2 or 3 months ago, that I released the golf club or cast the head of the golf club early on in my downswing. In fact, almost as soon as I started my transition back to the ball, this hand here, this right hand, I'm a right-handed golfer, in case you haven't noticed, it would start unhinging. Now, loads of reasons why I think I do that. I think it's a natural, it's a natural move, really, because all your brain's trying to do is get the golf club back to the ball in the most efficient manner. So it starts moving it early on in the downswing, but we all know that the golf swing is an unnatural move, really, and so the object isn't to get the golf head to the golf ball in the most efficient manner, it's to get it there moving with speed, okay? And that involves hanging on or not releasing the angles until much later. Swinging the golf club, not hitting the ball. So that became apparent as I was videoing my swing slow motion. This happened, okay? And it's got me thinking on why it happens and how to combat it. I started off by just trying to make golf swings, just thinking about this wrist in isolation. Don't move it, don't move it, don't move it. And I had a bit of success, but it's not until I made the connection between a chain of events and my brain that I really started getting massive results. Now that sounds complicated, but I'll explain really quickly. The golf swing is a chain of events. It's a sequence of events that happens, and normally one thing, my wrist, doesn't just happen in isolation. It happens as a reaction to another muscle firing. There's a connection there. If you've always done it, it's a pattern that has developed. So for me, it became obvious that as I got towards the top of my backswing, as soon as I started towards the ball, so as soon as my left side, my left hip started firing, my right hand fired as well. Those two things were connected. That was a pattern for me, a bad pattern, okay? As soon as I got to the top of my backswing, as soon as I started down, this hand would unhinge. I would put pressure on the shaft with my thumb or with the top side of my right hand. Okay, now that's a bad thing. It's a bad thing because the club head is released early. It either hits the ground early, it lacks power because you've released all the power here, or in order to avoid hitting the ground early, because the brain is kind of clever, it knows it might do that, you jump up out of your swing, early extension to make some room for the club head. You lose power, inconsistent hits on the ball. It's not ideal. So once I made the connection between my left side moving and the right hand, it allowed my brain to figure out that you need to disassociate those two things. Okay, so I wasn't just thinking now about my right wrist in isolation. I was thinking more left hip moves, quiet right hand. Left hip moves, quiet right hand. And And I got much better results much quicker once I made that connection. Okay, so figure out in your own swings what your little flaws are and think of them as a chain of events, and what muscle or what firing or what starts your flaw. And once you can identify what starts the flaw, then if that becomes part of the focus in your mind, it's much easier to change. I know it sounds counterintuitive, but it actually does work, so give it a try. So very simply, you don't even need one of these. Okay, you don't need a kid's plastic club to work on that. You could just do it wherever you are. If you're in an elevator, in a hotel room, in a restaurant, waiting for a bus, it doesn't matter. You can change those patterns just by thinking about it. It's crazy, okay? Everything that your body does in the golf swing, it only does because this computer up here tells it to do it. This computer controls the sequence of events, okay? Don't think of muscle memory isn't in your muscles. Okay, muscle memory is this machine up here telling your muscles what to do. How do you change it? Very simply. What I started doing is I figured out that I couldn't work on this for 6 hours a day on the range. Okay, I don't have enough time. I got another job. But I figured that wherever I was, you know, during my day, there's a lot of downtime if you think about it. Wherever I was, I could work on thinking about moving my left side and not moving my right wrist. Okay? And you can work on that 1,000, 2,000 times a day. You can make that move if you want. And I started doing that, and all of a sudden it started disappearing from my swing pretty quickly. Hope you get the idea. If you like the video, if you like the idea, give me a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you again soon with another tips and tricks video. So saying goodbye from Hong Kong. See you later, peeps.